Hey everyone, welcome again to another episode of Real Estate Talk. Today I have Will Gray. He is our title guy, and we're going to be talking about something that for anyone that's buying a house, they have to make this decision during escrow, and the vesting, or how they're going to take title of their new property.
That's right. Yeah, the vesting is basically the set of rules that determine who gets to make decisions regarding the property, how they hold their ownership stake, and what happens in the event of the death or incapacitation of one of the parties on title. So for a single person buying a property, it's an easy decision.
It's easy.
Do they own it as an individual, or do they put it into an entity such as an LLC or a trust, right? And then those different entities usually have in their documentation their own rules as far as how ownership of the property is governed. What happens in the event of a death, who gets to make the decisions and how, right? Mm-hmm. When there's going to be more than one person on title, such as a married couple, romantically involved but not married, or a whole family situation, we see multiple generations on title, or even
parents, or
even multiple families that aren't necessarily related to each other on title to the same home. And there's a few different options there. Married couples have community property available to them, which is just like it sounds. They hold ownership of the property together. They make their decisions jointly, and that can be done with or without a specific right of survivorship. Okay. Which means that if one spouse dies with the right of survivorship, it automatically goes to the surviving spouse as an individual, what they call severalty in title speak. Or they can set it up where if one party passes away, their half of the property goes into their estate, which you often see like in second marriages where they have children from a different marriage and they want to give them some ownership rights in succession.
So there's that, and there's multiple other forms of title.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
How should people... I know we send them this chart which has all the characteristics, different things between different forms of title.
Yeah.
Who should they ask? That's number one. And how do they come up with what's best for them?
Yeah, so if you need advice on holding title, that is legal advice. You'd want to go to your legal or estate planning professional for that advice to your specific situation. A lot of times those charts that show the different vesting forms and how the different ownership scenarios are impacted are relatively easy to understand, but sometimes with the granularity of your situation, you need a little bit of extra advice that is in the realm of legal counsel, right?
It also has some kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it does have some impact on taxes and financials. So
yeah, it certainly can.
So CPAs are also a very good person to get involved at this point, because they know your financials, they know your situation. They are in a good position to advise on
absolutely
what sort of
yeah.
I always tell people, and will tell them how easy it is to do that. But when you choose a form of title, you're not stuck with that
correct
forever, or you can change it basically any time, right?
Yes. It's as simple as drawing up a deed, filling out a little form from the county assessor, basically excluding the property typically from property tax reassessment, and submitting that to the county recorder. If it's an owner-occupied property, the recording fees tend to be pretty minimal, $12, $15 here in Orange County. Within California, for non-owner-occupied property, they've recently added a $75 fee that also attaches to that, making it a little more inconvenient to make that kind of transfer.
Relatively
within the scheme of home ownership, it's inexpensive.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, when people are being added to or taking off of title, you do want to talk to like an estate planning professional if you're doing it for purposes of estate planning, because there are vestings such as joint tenancy that have the right of survivorship, but using that as opposed to a trust, for instance, to set up your succession plan for ownership of your house can also have some unintended consequences, like a child being added to title so that they take over in the event of a parent's death, would suddenly have to qualify for any refinances, sign off on any purchases, and may have some income taxes to pay that year. So they definitely want to consult and make sure that they're taking the right option for their own situation.
Thank you so much for watching and joining us again for this episode of Real Estate Talk. If you have any questions for Will or myself, be happy to answer. We'll see you again next episode.
Thank you, Will. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.